One of the best that I really think you're going to do.
Mr. Becker, we are now live.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our March 15th board meeting. At this time, can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Teresa, can we have a roll call, please?
Cindy Brassington. Present. Drew Hampton.
Here.
Josh Hoagland.
Here.
Greg Clubon.
Present.
Brianna Majeski. Josh Majeski.
Here.
Tony Serafini.
Here.
Tim Vogt.
Here.
Eli Yemsel.
Present.
All members present.
All right, just to inform the public, prior to the meeting and last Monday night, we had an executive session to discuss negotiations and personnel. We'll do the agenda hearing period right before we do the agenda items. So, Jim, it's all you.
Okay, first thing is we have a few guests that I'd like to introduce and let them do some presentations. First group up is the Southern Columbia Community Foundation. We have Mick Fleming, Dr. Alana Connors, and Gail Sersch. Is Conrad here? Or?
No.
Oh, okay, Dr. Conrad Sersch, he's here somewhere. I don't see him.
He's not.
Oh, he's not here. Okay. So I'll turn it over to you guys.
I come up there or
Wherever you want.
start? You hear me? I don't yell too All right. Good evening, President Vogt, other members of the board, Superintendent Becker, and other members of the administrative team. I've been asked to represent the Southern Columbia Alumni Community Foundation with the current president, Mick Fleming, here tonight, and board member Gail Sersch also with me tonight. We won't take too much of your valuable time, but at first I want to thank you for the opportunity at least to address the board tonight. From a historical perspective, the idea of starting an educational foundation began back in 2004 when, as superintendent, I held a retreat with the current board at that time to establish goals and objectives. Mike Yeager was new to the board at the time, and was the first time we began to explore the possibility of creating what we thought at the time, a picture of an educational foundation. The major goal was to solicit alumni, staff, administration, and members of the Southern Columbia community to explore ways to help to support the district's mission of educating our students beyond the abilities of the board and the financial restraints at the time. As in all new ventures, the foundation was able to gain the support of the individuals who are willing to give their time and expertise to the cause. I have provided you with just a short-listed example of the kinds of support and individuals that we had the pleasure to work with and the support that we received. I do not want the board or the public to think of our organization as just looking for financial support, although that is nice, no two ways about it. But as a board member, Gail Zambor has stated on numerous occasions, we also welcome assistance by volunteering their time at our events, donating in-kind articles such as used instruments, technology, and other useful articles our students can gain from their use. The foundation has been fortunate to have had individuals within the district who have had added their expertise, all right, to help run from behind the scenes. Some of those individuals are here today. Denise Kreischer, Teresa Bridge, Brian Davis, just to mention some of the others besides some of the administrators and other groups within the school. Not to mention how many of our students, former students, also were involved with the foundation, like Eli. Former Superintendent Paul Caputo and now Superintendent Becker have been key in the development and the progression of this organization. I have provided you with a financial statement provided by Kurt Jones, another volunteer and another board member, which outlines the last 4 years. It took us that long, really, from 2004 until 2017 to start actually generating income and things for the foundation. Another example of what we have been up to the last few years and planning to get this thing on the road, so to speak. Unfortunately, I come here tonight at a crossroads. A major cog in our organization is no longer going to be there to help us progress. And as you know, Mike Yeager has resigned from his position as our executive director. Mike has truly been the driving force behind the organization, and not to use the old cliche, it will be difficult to replace him, but that could not be any truer. Many of you who are sitting as board members have been involved with the foundation, either as part of the board or helping out in some of its functions and activities. I know Josh Hoagland, your input was vital in moving the student interviews into the pilot of the graduation project, as an example. You know how involved Mike was in all the projects and how he kept things running. A lot of things on the table that if we do not get another executive director are going to fall to the wayside, or someone else will have to pick up within the school organization. The graduation project is just an example. But we also have a MERT grant for $25,000 that the foundation helped secure. But we're still going to need someone to help with the financial reports, filling out the guidelines, making sure that we're meeting our guidelines and dates. The career day, the golf tournament, the road race, the goals for the large group instruction. All those things obviously still need someone within SCA to help with the organizational progress and programs, just as examples. Now to bring the rabbit all the way back to the hole, so to speak, the foundation needs a new executive director. We want to let the alumni and the community know of the vacancy. This is a great platform. Hopefully, some of the alumni and the community will hear this and think about it. We hope you as school board members would be able to take and talk about the need of the foundation, and when possible, to advise or encourage individuals that you know that could either help on the board or be possible candidates for the executive director's position. You know it can be great additions to the organization, and we'd like to have you, hopefully, send someone our direction. Because I'm afraid without someone soon, all we have put together and built to this point will quickly disappear. And some of the things obviously will fall on the administration or others within the school, but many of those other facets will obviously fall away. So that would be a definite disappointment, not only to our teachers, our staff, but also for our students for the programs and the things that we have provided. And you have those lists, and I just gave you some of those examples. And I know most of you know what has been going on and what kind of things were there. Boy, is this tough talking on that. So anyway, any questions at this point for myself, Mick, or Dale?
Can you give us a rough idea of what the potential time commitment would be for the executive director? I know it probably waxes and wanes, but roughly.
Throughout the course of the year, I know Mike spent a lot of time here. Mike went way above. But that's what he enjoyed and he really liked to do. But it would be a couple days a week, during the course of the year. And then as the events started to come up, it'd be a little bit more working with the administration, working with Denise, working with, everybody else to coordinate things. So it is a time commitment. There's no two ways about it, if it's going to be done properly. Now, the other side is, if we don't get an executive director, those things tail off, and, then there's only certain events that the board possibly can run. But we've even lost a lot of great people, in the last, 10, 12 years, that have come on the board, stayed for a while, and then got off because of the commitment sometimes, or just other things that, they got involved with. So, like any organization, if you have 40 people involved, I would go with the 10% rule. 10% of people do most of the work. So in a situation like this, our board is about 10 people.
And most of them have gray hair, which are not going to continue to do it forever.
Why'd you look at me when you said that? Does that answer your question?
Would you ever consider a structure where there are two executive directors who share the position to make
Sure.
it a little more manageable?
Sure. We'll look for anything as far as to try to keep this thing rolling. Okay, well, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you, and good luck with your volunteerism here to the community.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Alcon. Nick and Gail, thank you guys for for everything you guys do. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
You know.
Mr. Becker, is this posted?
We can post it on the website. I don't think right now, they have their own website, the foundation, but we can,
We should put it on the district page.
It is on the district.
Is it on the Facebook page?
the,
Dr. Lonafont, if we work with you guys to get a quick Facebook post to put on the district page, does that make sense?
Sure.
You think?
Teresa and I can work on
I
that.
think,
We can work
make
on
sure
that.
it matches up with whatever the wording they want, something simple.
We do have a foundation Facebook page though, but we can put it
Yeah,
on.
yeah, but I don't.
But we can maybe link it from our page, the school page to the foundation page.
I see the school page all the time, so.
Would you be the point of contact for interested people?
Well, technically Mick's the president, but I can't be. It's up to you, Mick.
I'm just wondering if somebody is interested, who they direct it to.
Either one of us.
Okay.
And I think you have both numbers, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I'll put your email addresses if you don't mind.
What are they?
No, I'll put your email
Oh, yeah.
addresses.
On the Facebook post.
Sure, that's fine.
I think that's probably the best chance to get them.
Right. Sounds like a plan. All right, well, thank you once again.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Good night, guys.
Thank you. Next group up, I'm going to skip to number C and I have two of our great first grade teachers here, Miss Pam Rook and Mrs. Sally Meyer, and Mr. Federman here. They're here to talk about first grade Nature Day, which has been a huge success in the past. The reason I have them here, we would just usually do this, and we can do this even according to our health and safety guidelines. It'd be, you know, the building principal can allow special guests that come in. But we would really like to run this. I think it's a great thing. We can run it with our safety protocols in place. I'm gonna turn it over to Sally, John, and Pam, and they can talk about the day and some of the things you guys have talked to me about, some of the safety protocols that you want to run this Nature Day in first grade.
Well, first of all, this would be our 6th year that Mrs. Myers, who kind of was the leader of this in collaboration with Mrs. Michelle Williams. And Sally can go into exactly what takes place on this day. I'm going to speak to the safety concerns. Obviously, this year we have a little bit more, but realistically, we're outside. We will be wearing masks. Each year that we've conducted this, there was hand sanitizers at each station. The children are contained within their own classroom. At no time are we mixing with other classrooms, which is the same as in the school building. We have health professionals willing to talk to the professionals themselves who will be coming in and demonstrating the different types of activities that Sally will talk about that we do on this day. It correlates with our curriculum, and we were thinking and brainstorming with Mr. Fetterman as to what would be any issues. The only time that the children ever mingled was after lunch. We have a picnic lunch on the grass. Classrooms are contained. They're all separated, as in the regular school day. They have a free time to mingle, and that would be our only change this year, in which children would just remain in their own classroom and play amongst themselves, which is what they do every day anyway. And I personally feel not only physically would this be a safe event, mentally, these children really haven't had much. Unfortunately, they really don't know what they've missed out on because they're young. And I feel it's a great opportunity, as well as Sally, to ignite the passion for learning. And this is really a hands-on day. Those of you who had children in first grade before, grandchildren or neighbors, I'm sure they spoke highly of this day. Children and parents that we've asked in the past, once it was conducted, they actually thought this was even better than going to the Hershey Zoo. So, Sally, you want to speak to what we do during the day?
Sure. With the cross-curricular event, so before we go on Nature Day, each student or little group of students researches an animal, and for a common core, even young children are supposed to be using the internet and researching. So they all have to write a little about a 5-sentence paragraph about their animal, looking at details, and they create an animal in any way, shape, or form they and their parents want to. They present it to the rest of their classmates. So that day, they already have a good understanding about, some of the local animals in our area. And then on that day, they come to school, we check in very quickly, and then we walk to the nature trail all together. And then there's 5 stations. 2 are run by staff here. Mike Williams does the tree station, and Steve Ross does the nature trail, along with the Pennsylvania master naturalist. And then we have a creek study, that's probably the highlight, and a Fish and Game Commission person or 2 come. At every station, there's parents that help take kids to the bathroom if they need to go, because the bathroom's in front of where you enter the nature trail. We do need more parents, volunteers, and sometimes we have high school kids at the creek because they all get to get in. And they have nets, they identify organisms. Each station lasts between 45 minutes and an hour. People from the conservation district do the pollinator station. So, and then John Bean, naturalist from Montour Reserve, brings animals, and then the Michelle Richard Williams family also usually collects some things and show that, and then he shows them that too. So it's just a great day. They don't go inside the whole day. We do have a fairly large number of volunteers, and that was one of the concerns when we presented it. And want you to know, nobody is near a student for 15 minutes by any, you can imagine in the creek, or when they're showing turtles or whatever, they're all moving, so that's not a concern. Everybody would wear a mask. But it's a great, cross-curricular event, but also it's a joyful event, and we'd love to do it for several reasons with the kids. And we are aware of the health concerns, and Mr. Vetterman is always down. There's a whole group that comes 1 to 2 weeks, Sundays before it starts, and we make it sure that it's all clear and very safe for first graders to be down. And I know many of you have been at the nature trail many times, but it is a little different bringing first graders down. So we really, Steve Ross comes, Mike Williams, a whole group of us to make sure that all the trails are very safe and ready for young kids to go through. So we're just asking if possibly we could even more, I think more this year than ever. We'd like to do it.
I think the only big question we had is this would be the first time we're bringing a group of visitors in to do presentations. But if you think about it, we've had visitors on campus through athletic events, and so I really think this is a go. I just
This
want
will be outside then too, so you can still continue to social
Exactly.
distance.
Yeah, I think if you guys follow your protocols, it's a no-brainer.
And the presenters and the volunteers, they are in the school at all that day. They go straight to the nature trail. And I did speak with Evan Barkowski, and he's going to come that day, and he said he, along with Michelle Richard Williams, would talk to all the volunteers that morning, just to remind them as well. The kids are great about their masks on Friday now, so we don't have any concerns about them not doing that.
Thanks for being willing to carry this on. Thanks.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job. Just a true testimony, their care and concern for the kids. Just a lot of time and effort.
Yep, thank you.
Well,
Kudos to the first grade team.
And Michelle Richard Williams, we work closely every year with her, and she's already kind of feeling out presenters to see if it would be possible for them, because usually we have it all organized much earlier.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Keep our protocols in place, I think so.
Honestly, I think the kids have more risk walking into a grocery store than they will on a nature trail with 10 visitors who are following our protocols.
Biggest concern how it's going to be wet, how wet they're going to get in the creek.
That should be what first graders are learning.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank
you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Okay, part of our facilities report tonight would be about the roofing, and we asked Marshall Kiesling to come back. Am I saying it right?
Yep.
Okay,
Marshall Kiesling.
from Tremco to
Thank you for
discuss
having me.
the roofing options.
Yep, so I have hard copies if you guys would like to follow along. Is there any way that we could pull up the attachments?
Yep, you tell me what you want pulled up. I have them here.
If we could start with the aerial image. So I'll just give you guys a brief history, and I know we presented back in October or November. So Alan Banky was the previous field advisor in the area. He was here in the area for 42 years. I know he worked with the district for 20. And as you can see, this is your current landscape of roofing, and you guys are in great shape compared to a lot of school districts. You're in really good shape with your roofing. The only roof that I'm here to talk about is the one that's in orange. So that roof was put on 20 years ago. And is expiring in May. The warranty is coming out. That was a hot asphalt build-up roof. I guess, Mr. Becker, we could go right to the budget letter. So what we did back in October was myself and Randy Klein, he's also on the local team. We met with Scott and Denise to go over next steps for that roof. And what we did was an infrared scan, and that was back in November. So when we did the infrared scan, we found no wet. So the purpose of the scan is to detect any wet insulation that's in the roof system. And we did not find any wet. And I apologize, that's the one thing I forgot to put on the attachments, was the report. I think Scott might actually have a hard copy, but we did not find any wet, which is great news. So the next step that we took, the district wanted us to create a list of options for you guys to choose from. So we created this list, and because there's no wet, you guys do not have to worry about replacing that roof anytime soon. That roof has been on there for 20 years, and we're offering to do 10 more years, and at that point, you could rescan it and potentially restore it rather than have to tear it off. So that's the first option. And the next option was a 5-year warranty. And then if you move down to the TREM cares, what those are preventative maintenance programs. And Mr. Becker, if you could go back to the aerial, I apologize to flip back and forth here. Okay. So the blue sections you currently have are preventative maintenance and housekeeping program. Those roofs were done in 2020. That was the restoration. The green roofs do not. So we offered a 5-year program as well as an annual program if you guys would like to do that. But the main concern was the yellow roof, and that was the one option that we thought would best fit you guys. So really what the warranty covers is any leak that you have. You can call myself direct, or we have a 1-800 number, and we'll come fix it, and any repair that's needed is covered.
So we're currently under warranty for the orange area.
Yes, you are, until May of this year.
So there's a number of repairs that are identified. I guess those repairs are not covered under the current warranty?
Yes, and the reason being, and I think there should be a photo log, and the reason being is the majority of the repairs, so there was work that was done, and I'm not sure the time frame, I think it was before Scott was here, that was done, and non-compatible roofing materials were used. They put in rubber flashings for the drain flashings, and then they also put in rubber pipe boots, and some of the units were not flashed in properly. So for us to feel comfortable taking on the roof for another 10 years, we feel that we need to repair those properly with the compatible materials. And then there was also another handful of repairs that we wanted to do, such as coating flashings with aluminum, and repairing pipelets, and just small housekeeping types of things.
The existing warranty is through you,
Yes, yep.
which was in place when these repairs were done, but
The repairs were not done yet. The repairs have not been done.
No, the
Oh, yes,
the things that were done incompatibly that need to be repaired now at our expense.
Yeah, so typically manufacturers void the warranty when somebody comes in and does repairs like that without us knowing.
So,
but we're not gonna void
so
it.
I guess my question would be, you weren't involved with those repairs that are incompatible, even though the warranty was in place and whatever was done there should have been covered by the warranty or not?
No, it wouldn't have been covered by the warranty. No, because those were new HVAC units. I
Okay, so
believe.
those were new
Yeah.
installs, not.
Yep, those were,
So they weren't incompatible repairs, they were incompatible additions or alterations.
yes,
That now need to be repaired in
properly.
order to extend the warranty, and you're not covering it under your existing warranty because you weren't involved with
Yeah, we weren't
that
involved.
process.
Yep, I think it was,
Because the overarching question was, why would we get a warranty from the company that already is warrantying it, who isn't covering the repairs that need to be done in order to get the warranty? But that explains,
yep, we were not involved.
that's a question for other people and later, but.
So your budget, the first one, the 58,000 is only for that orange roof, correct?
Yes, that's for the orange roof, and that includes all of the repairs. And that also includes one inspection per year of preventative maintenance and housekeeping. So we'll have a technician come out and continue to touch things up that need to be touched up that are weathering.
So on the roofs that you are warranted now, the middle school and elementary roofs are still warranted, correct?
Well, the elementary school is not a Tremco warranty.
Okay, so
That
that
one
would
was-
be I'm just trying to get this clear. So that would be the Tremco Gold or these ones down here, the $40,000 one.
Yes, that's correct.
But that doesn't include anything. All right, so that would just be the inspections yearly and touch-ups.
Yes, on all the remainder of the roofs.
And as far as leaks, Scott, the question was insurance.
And
With leaks.
insurance won't cover the roof. It'd cover any damage inside. Am I correct, Denise?
Yeah.
So that's why the warranty on the roof.
Unless it was like wind damage, something like that.
Yeah, an act of nature,
Yeah.
like a tornado or a hurricane, that would be insurance.
Now, I just need to clear something up. I think, Marshall, I don't want to overstep, but all our roofs, if we get this done, all our roofs will have warranty.
That's correct.
The trend care service that they're offering, the 5-year and the 1-year, is a service that they provide for like preventative maintenance, housekeeping, on the additional roofs. It's not something that we need, it's not something that we have. This is just something that they are offering us. Now with the 58,000 for the 10-year for that orange area, that includes the warranty and it includes the trend care services.
Yep.
And the repair.
And the repairs that need to be done.
You know, we would say for the warranty, that is completely up to the comfort level of the district. We would just highly recommend the repairs. If you were going to do anything, to definitely do the repairs to get those units and the repairs, well, I guess the new units that were put in, to bring them up to speed with the rest of the roof.
And the repairs alone are 28K.
Yep.
What would be an example of some sort of damage that would not be covered by the warranty then?
Well, we're going to respond to any leak that you have. So if we came out and there was a repetitive leak that happened 3 or 4 times and we can't get it to stop, and we do further investigation or a water test, find out that it's the wall and it's not covered by the warranty, then that's when we have a conversation and go from there.
So essentially, any leak.
Any leak you have, we'll be responding to.
Okay.
Yep.
At no cost.
At no cost, that's correct.
So just to clarify, the warranty extension would put the orange area back under warranty for another 10 years.
Correct.
And the green area is currently under warranty, but without any Trem Care Gold or anything.
That's
Okay. So we're looking at about $37,000 for the warranty for a 10-year if I take out the repair cost.
That's, but you only get the warranty if you're. So we're saying you need to do the repairs to feel comfortable taking on the roof.
To qualify for the
Yeah.
extended one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. The green roofs
Mhm.
that are covered under warranty, but not the Trem Care.
Right.
If the elementary roof leaks tomorrow, does the warranty cover the repair or not? Like, what is the warranty on that?
That would be your other roofing.
I'm sorry, what was that, Josh?
That's through a different company.
Yeah, I think that's Firestone or
Well,
Carlisle is the.
Some of them are, some of them aren't. Some of the green roofs are Tremco roofs. The new gym, that area, that new area up there, I believe they are Tremco roofs.
Yes, the building on the right, sorry,
It's
the elementary.
the elementary building had a new roof put on by budget renovation. Do you know when, Jim? I wasn't here.
Within 10 years, within,
And the middle school second floor.
And the high school second floor.
High school second floor.
Was done by budget renovation.
Correct.
Was it done in 2014 or?
I think this was.
I don't know, I have the warranty for them over in my office, budget renovation, and we have 20-year warranties on them. We probably have, just off the top of my head, like 15 years left on them too. The elementary, and it would be the second floor of the high school. And then the other green areas where the new gym is, that area there, the middle school, the upper middle school, they were all done with the 2012 project.
Yeah.
Correct.
So.
Jim, do we have anything in our budget for repairs or any kind of light items built in for this cost?
Not in the budget.
Not in the budget as it currently sits.
We do have $100,000 set aside in fund balance for buildings and grounds. And we do have capital reserve funds that we could use to pay for that as well.
That's something we have left from the insurance, from the track.
Well, we have 28,000 left from the last bond, the track project, which we could potentially use some of, or that the final amount of that as well.
And does any of the potential stimulus money, would any of that be able to be used?
Possibly.
Possibly for the repairs. I'm not sure about the warranty piece. Because some schools are trying to use stimulus on the air quality issue with their roofs if they have leaks. I'm going to say counteracting mold and things like that. So.
If we were to go with the $58,000 package repairs and extended warranty, would you be able to split the two costs? Would you be able to split out on a line item and say repairs?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or this much?
Yep.
So that,
I just lumped them
so that
together.
if,
just so
yeah,
it's a
I'm just
little-
saying, so that if we went that route, and then in the future we have new federal money that shows up that could work for one, but not the other part, that we have the documentation to support it.
Yeah,
That wouldn't be an
absolutely.
issue.
I just tried to consolidate the best.
Yep.
There's a lot of options.
That makes perfect sense what you did.
Is that, yeah, does this all make sense or?
Makes a lot more sense to me now, yes.
I have another question just while we're on this for everyone. So a leak, insurance would cover damages caused by said leak, regardless of whether it was whatever the cause was, right? Like, does our insurance cover deterioration of the roof due to not having adequate maintenance?
No, it would
No
not.
is a good answer, right? Like, that's
No.
you need to know. So
No, because they're expecting, I mean, an adjuster's gonna come out and he's gonna see that we haven't, done our due diligence with the upkeep.
right, but if we do the repairs, and don't have the warranty, and
Then the insurance may cover like things inside that were damaged.
And
But
we would
not
be
the
on the
roof.
hook for the repairs of the roof itself to
Correct.
prevent future damage.
Correct.
Okay, let's make sure we're laying it all out here
Yep.
clearly, because there's lots of conflicting information. Okay,
I guess what I would like to see is if we can chase down any kind of answer as to using stimulus money to purchase the warranty, that would change what my thought is.
do we need a decision by for you to extend the warranty?
Well, the warranty is out May 15th.
Once we do the repairs and then we decide in a reasonable timeframe, you're.
Yeah. The digs are covered it through May, so.
Try to find some of those answers out.
Yeah, so
What's covered.
what I
I
heard-
think the repairs, warranties, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We'll ask that question.
So what can we use stimulus money for? And then I have a broader question that's not directed at you. And then how did we do $21,000 worth of incompatible additions, alterations, or work to the roof that luckily they're not voiding the warranty for? How did we track that down? Like the individual things that are related, like this is important. Like how did that happen? And what are we doing so that it doesn't happen again?
Have to go back to the architect. Well,
I think-
these were additions afterwards, is what you're saying.
So the roof was on.
These repairs are to additions afterwards.
I don't think there were repairs. That was part of the building
Yeah,
project.
the repairs that need to be made are additions are things that were altered on the roof after the roof was in
After the
place.
roof was in place.
Roof was in place, we did.
Added drains, added like HVAC units.
So the question is,
For each of those events that occurred that have added these penetrations through the roof that are incompatible and now costing us $22,000 to repair, how and why did that happen?
and
Who is responsible for allowing it to
I
happen?
don't know.
And how do we prevent it from happening going forward? Those are the three questions I have related to each individual addition, whether they all occurred at once or on over a span of 10 years on different occasions. I'd like to know each case.
why were they?
How?
to be done?
Who allowed it? Why did it happen? And what are we doing so that such things don't happen in the future? And I understand that you weren't the superintendent. Scott wasn't here. Scott wasn't in charge of this. So it's not a witch hunt. It's a process. This is root cause analysis. How did we get here that we're now stuck for $21,000 bill? And luckily, they're going to honor, the warranty if we want to extend it, whereas they probably could have just voided it.
They could have been voided.
Right.
So I think I'd like to see us go back to the GC who did the work and ask the question, did he ever check to make sure what he was doing wasn't going to void our warranty? And go from there. Because frankly, maybe he should be paying for this.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It may be multiple events even. It may not have all occurred at one time. So for each of those events, for everything that's in the photo log that we're going to pay for repairs on, I'd like to know how we got there.
Typically, when one of these things or something that's added, ventilation or drains, are you guys contacted if it's a this is a Tremco roof? You guys should be contacted.
Scott can bring me out and we'll.
Well, I'm saying in general. I'm saying like when this happened, you guys should have been contacted to find out. Okay, well, what will void our warranty? What wouldn't void the warranty? What materials should be used?
Well, we'll even go to the point of like, we'll write a scope of work for the contractor and make sure it's done properly. That way
Why
there's
wasn't
no-
it done? Why wasn't it done?
Because you gotta take the lowest bidder when they put these projects
Right,
together.
but they're trying to provide it, right? So this is the same conversation we had with the track, right? When we redid the track. Yes, we're gonna take, but who is responsible for verifying that, the district has done its own due diligence for executing the contract, right? And that's, it ultimately falls on the superintendent, but
You might be able to find some paperwork regarding the roofing and what was put on, who put it on, you know, like, not, on this, in this yellow section, you know, some of the HVAC units that were put on.
Right, and so the point with who is responsible isn't for point at this person, because that person may not even be here anymore, so it doesn't matter who the actual person is, it's at what level was the decision made or who was involved, so that going forward, we can make sure that people in those roles know that they should be watching for this, or they should be kicking it up to a higher level for.
I can tell you what we did to save money in some of those projects, where we hired a clerk of the works, we should have hired a
project manager.
Yeah, and we didn't, because we wanted to save money, and it wasn't that big of a savings, but after doing these projects now, I would spend the money and get that person here, because
it's gonna cost us the same amount of money over time anyway to fix the stuff that's wrong.
Nothing against Scott or whoever's here is that there's no possible way, and I'll give Tim George some credit. He bounced around and tried to keep an eye on things, but the minute the phone rings and he has to go fix the toilet, it's, you know.
The value that I see in this exercise of, you know, root cause analysis and pulling this all together is so the next time we have a major project and we want to save money and somebody's arguing, well, last time we just used X, we can say, here's all the things that went wrong when we did that. Right? So if we're going to go that path, then we need to have some way to address these types of issues, or we're not going to go that path, right? So if we just pay for the repairs and ignore how we got there, we will never fix this process, and we will just continue to do it, and then it will just continue to balloon and grow in scope.
I would think just initially, anything that gets done on that roof, Tremco should be given the okay, sign off on it. If they have the warranty,
Especially
they
with
should
the
be.
warranty. I mean, even on the elementary school, the warranty, the business that has the warranty has to be contacted before anything happens and make sure that we don't void the warranty. It's like I said, they could very easily said, warranty's gone, you guys used wrong material.
My caution would be that we don't put corrective actions in place before we know how we got there, right? So it shouldn't take long to figure out, like, put together 3 sentences for when, what project was this related to, and a quick description of how we think it happened. And then from that, very quickly here, assign blanket corrective actions going forward that fix the processes. Like, this is more of an exercise for the process, like even this corrective action or root cause analysis than the actual thing we're trying to solve here.
We'd probably do that just looking at the photos and identifying
Most likely
where the issue is, and
just for the next meeting, if we could have some. If the next facilities meeting, if we could just have some summary document that covers each of the individual things with those three questions answered, right, is what I'm asking for is, you know, what or when did it happen? What project was it related to? Who was responsible for making the decision that allowed it to occur? And how will we prevent this from happening in the future? And the how we prevent it might be the same answer for every case, which is called Tremco.
Hey, I would add one additional thing, and if we can easily pull a contract and just search, did our contract say, make sure it's compatible with our warranties? You know, I don't want to spend 10 hours going down that rabbit hole, but if that's something easy enough to do, I'd like to take that step as well.
Well, that's really important, Josh, because then it's like, okay, so the district identified it as an issue if that's the case, and then we just failed to enforce our contract, right? So it goes to the diligence part. So I think that's actually really important in this process. Do we have a problem identifying issues, or do we have a problem holding people accountable, or both?
All right, anybody else have anything for our?
Yep, any more questions? Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thank you, Marshall.
Thanks, Scott.
Jim, do you have anything else?
That's all I have.
I'm gonna leave hard copies there. There's some hard copies. Great, guys.
Thanks.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
All right, with that, we'll move on to committee reports. And now that we have the roof discussion finalized, the next one Scott discussed was a co-op. Did that student arrive yet to help?
Starting tomorrow.
Starting tomorrow, okay. We had a discussion about the dust collector, and we had a presentation with the laser.
Some of the
Yeah.
parts for the dust collector did arrive this week, some of the piping and that kind of thing.
The installation for the dust collector is going on 25th and 26th, and the laser engraver, which I'll talk about the Merck Grant Foundation did. The tech ed guys are really learning how to do it. They were actually, I mean, some of you guys know what this is, but it's for some, not they're, engraving on glass, they're engraving on wood. It's just, it's going to be a real neat project. The kids are just, you walk down there and there's kids not even in that class have gotten past to come down and see this thing. So it's really sparking an interest. So
It was standing room only, like Thursday, I guess, in there watching machine work.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, quick question on the dust collector. Is there any work being done, say, to like the roof or anything where we should worry about any warranties during installation?
Dust collector's not touching the roof. We're going from an outside dust collector that went through the window, and we're capping the window, to an interior dust collector that has filters and everything's inside. So no, we're not touching the roof.
We don't have any window warranties that we're voiding.
In fact, we're getting a cap right from the window company in which we got the window.
Okay. Making sense.
Yep.
All right, moving on to finance. Denise?
Okay, we talked about the BOTEC budget and what we need to budget for our side of that, which is a little over $800,000. We looked at the charter school history. All these documents are posted on the Facilities and Finance Committee, Facilities and Finance meeting documents. We had the bills list so that it was ready, everyone could take a look at that. We had a delinquent property discussion. There's a delinquent property with the area that's run down. They owe delinquent taxes of almost $5,000, and they is it the borough or the county?
It's the township.
The township has a grant to demolish the property if all the taxing entities will avoid the taxes. So we talked about that. I talked about the Columbia County and Northumberland County uncollected delinquent taxes and gave a delinquent tax history on that. I did receive some more input back from other districts. Most of them are in our area, are using Tax Claim Bureau. And as I expanded my search, I sent a list to the board members of those other types that are being used. One is a law firm. There's a Keystone Collections. I'm trying to think of all the other. There was a couple on the list, but it can be done. And Shikellimi's business manager did respond and let me know that he has been in a situation where he has used a third party, so we can get more information from him. We also talked about PFM Financial Services. They are a group that is a fiduciary. In other words, they have our best interests in, and they work hand in hand with our bonding agencies, RBC. So we'll be on the minutes or on the agenda tonight. There's yes. Okay. So there's a motion on the agenda tonight for that. Mr. Becker did a complete enrollment study with history from TDE. That was done. We had electricity quotes. We didn't have all the quotes in. We just discussed it a little bit. So the rest of the information is on our meeting agenda tonight. And then we also discussed about a collection and donation platform. Mr. Becker and I sat in on another one this week. We had done a demonstration with Banco. We also did NRC. which is very similar to Banco. I've also been in contact with Banco. We can use just a donation button where a person will not have to make a login, and they can go right directly to those donation areas. So they're willing to do that for us. Also looked into the GoFundMe and the PayPal this week. Not that I'm not going to go that direction, but we're already paying for the Banco one, so I think we're going to start with that. And if that does not work out, we will move more toward possibly the GoFundMe or the PayPal type situation.
All right, thank you. Go Tech.
Sure thing. So we started out the meeting, kind of just had like a little rough discussion about having a superintendent's meeting to discuss with some of the local school districts about minimizing competition just between our 539 programs. And then the majority of it was just the steering committee discussion on the building. And I was supposed to get an email about the actual blueprints. I don't know, did they send you that, Jim?
I didn't get anything from them.
Yeah, I didn't get it. We were supposed to get an email from them, which I can try and get tomorrow and send it out to the board for review. But basically, what they'd like to add is 8,000 extra square feet for vocational education and an extra 800 square feet for academic education. The capacity is expected to remain the same. If you go to the school, it's very tight. A lot of the academic rooms are little makeshift closets, essentially. So a lot of this is just getting this kind of up to like a livable standard for the amount of students that are currently enrolled there. A big part of this is moving similar programs together. So again, the outline of the school, and I wish we had a blueprint up, you can kind of see how different vocations there are completely split up, and it's just completely inefficient. You know, you'll have your like nursing on one end of the building, and then your like medical studies or something on the other wing, which when in reality they should be close together. Or your like carpentry and woodworking, not next to each other. So a lot of this is kind of working to put these similar programs together, just to kind of improve efficiency with that. A majority of the cost is just mechanical systems, upgrading, you know, doing plumbing, getting all of that up to, you know, a lot of things that Ken says is today's standards, getting things up to modern. Here, the project is just under $18 million. That was what the kind of the starting goal was, to be under that price. They are looking at possibly a $1 million grant here, which would be matched. Again, they're going to have to kind of maneuver things around, kind of figure out how to spend that money, and then that money will be matched according to how they spend it. And, you know, they've kind of done a really good job with, you know, their CARES Act money that they're getting as well. Ken has been talking about how, you know, they just replaced their wall. They're doing a good job of making sure that everything that they're getting with this can be put into a revised building, so that they're not getting anything new now that's going to be completely thrown away within a year or two. So, you know, they're kind of planning long-term for that, that anything that they're getting can be used for a new building. We did talk a little bit, not going to make much of a difference, but ideally costs will go down marginally in terms of just operation costs with having newer systems and just more efficient systems. There's going to be no new faculty added with this project. There's no new programs added. This is simply just getting everything up to, like I said, today's standards. And then a majority of the work that's going to be done on the projects is going to ideally be done within 2 summers, 2 years. And ideally, they will be able to keep students in class while the project is underway. So basically, they're just going to work on specific vocational sides of it and keep students in one area of the building. And then as they free up area in another, they'll just maneuver them around to make sure that students can stay in class. And we discussed that, you know, in worst case scenario, work on some virtual options as well, since that infrastructure is kind of already in place. So that's pretty much it in terms of the building project. I don't know if you have anything to add, Drew.
No, you covered it very well. I have a question.
Sure.
What's our portion of 18 million, approximately?
I
think it was Right around two.
It was around 2, yeah.
So that's in line with everything we've been, what we
Been
agreed
talking
to.
about, yeah.
That budget was basically put into place around us. And then I have another thing. Teresa, this is very important. Can you change the name on the committee reports?
I just noticed that too.
Not for tonight.
Instead of Drew and Josh, it'll be Drew and Eli.
Remove Joshua
Oh,
and
that's right. I
replace
am
with Eli
sorry.
Nemco. This is essential.
We're pretty quick at giving that up.
I was done.
Denise,
Yeah.
following up on something we talked about at the committee last week, I had brought up, had we explored looking elsewhere? And the answer was, we had, and it probably wouldn't be an actual cost savings. I just wanted to mention that for anybody who wasn't on last week, and also ask if you could make sure you send out some of those documents on those cost comparisons to the board members, please.
Curriculum got canceled tonight. Is there anything that?
Yeah, I'd like to mention a couple things before Mrs. Snyder and I talk. First of all, next year, 11th grade health is going to be taught live in class. It's not going to be an online course anymore. So I found a health education book online that we can use. The licensing is free. I had Mr. Del Donovan look through it. He approved it. He said it looked really good, but I will send it out in the Friday letter so that you can all look at it before the April meeting, so you can take a look at what's in the book, what he'll be teaching, so you have an idea what's that. The personal finance class that has been approved through the board, we purchased the Dave Ramsey Education Program, which is an online program for all of our students. It's going to be 10th grade, I believe. We moved it to 10th grade. We kept moving it back and forth. I believe it's going to be in 10th grade now. We also bought the entrepreneurship. It came to $10,788 for 3 years. However, I did apply for the Next Gen Personal Finance Grant, which I just received an email the other day that we were approved for $10,000. So that'll cover basically the whole program except for $788 of that. And Mrs. Snyder and I have been talking about a summer program, looking at students who we seem to be they're struggling. Students who maybe haven't been on campus. We want to kind of get them caught up before they come back to school next year. So we were looking at a month of July, basically Monday through Thursday, a half-day program, 8:30 to 11:30, and that's what we came up with. We touched around a couple ideas of what we would possibly use as curriculum for that. Study Island does have a program called Exact Path, which is personalized. So what we could do is we could get into a pilot program for $2,500. Maybe we would have it all through the summer and then into the fall semester, basically till December. The students would take a diagnostic test at the beginning, find out where their levels are, and then the program would work them through that. Now, that's not what they would be doing for 3 hours, obviously, because we would have teachers involved. But it is something that you kind of get an idea of where they're sitting at that particular time and how much intervention and remediation they need. We did put an email out with middle school and elementary teachers just to find out who would be interested in teaching the course. I don't know, John and Brandon, if we got any feedback on it.
I haven't heard from anybody yet.
Okay.
And I think there's, a lot of the teachers are worn out after the school year. So I think once we know who's not available, we can reach out to the university or other resources in the community so we can be available to.
Our substitute list as well.
I think one of the things, we have a lot of students who have made growth and continue to maintain those skills. And then we have another group where, more our sliders, whether, it's just not the virtual platform if they can't be in school is not their forte. We have some students who definitely are not logging on. Mr. Davis has been really wonderful in meeting with the families and the parents and showing the data that supports the amount of time that the students are logged on, either synchronously or he can also go back and show asynchronously if they watch the video. So it's been really great to meet with individual families, show them that data, and then we meet again in 30 days to review some of the strategies we put in place.
And I think pulling in the families, I was on a meeting today with Mr. Donovan, where we pulled the family in, and it's just for the parents to be able to see exactly what their student is doing or not doing, makes it very relevant for them and very real.
And we've also used resources like Mrs. Noblet, the library manager. She does a OneNote notebook, so she can do virtual check-ins with students, check-in, check-outs every day. Again, to make sure they're writing down their assignments, organizing. Some students have improved, and we have some students who continue to flounder. But also, when we look from a special ed standpoint, when we're looking for an evaluation, there are things that we have to rule out for determining the child would meet the criteria of a student with a learning disability. and one of them is lack of instruction. So if a student hasn't been here throughout the year, or they're not logging on, and they come back and they're really far behind, we have to provide that instruction for a period of time, show that they're making progress or not making progress before we can go to the evaluation. So intervention programs like this are really critical for not only general ed, but also special ed to determine who, should move on for an evaluation. So I think we got teacher input as who would be eligible, but we're going to look at diagnostic data, from title, DIBELS, curriculum-based, all those, and then we're going to narrow down who we think would be eligible for the programs.
We also have 4 EL students, English language learner students. So last week, we tested them, which is basically a assessment that the state requires us to do for our EL students. Last Tuesday and Thursday, we tested 2 of them. Tomorrow and Thursday, we'll be testing the other 2. It takes about 2 hours. They stay after school. The students do 3 to 5:30. So we'll get the results back just like we do with Keystone testing or PSA Safe. That'll come in the mail, and we can see where our students are at. We do still have 8 homeless students, and that's about it.
The only other thing is we do have some students who are coming back from cyber programs, the independent cyber programs, either through Edgenuity or their cyber private charter. And we've created an unofficial bridge program where we're having the students work double math and English, one-on-one with someone for half the day, and then they're going back into their grade level curriculum to have another dose of the reading and math. Really just trying to narrow down on those skills. Also, especially when you're in the elementary, if you haven't been in school and you're behind 8 months, to come back into a first grade classroom or kindergarten, it's really hard for the teacher and for the other students. We really want to try to have them exposed to the curriculum, but also kind of look at what skills they're missing. So that just started. Hopefully we can, we've had a lot of truancy referrals, again, to Craig Long, and I'm thinking hopefully once those get into get going, I think we might have more students who will be encouraged to return to school.
All right, any questions?
I just had one thing about the voc tech. I know we mentioned it before too. The big thing is like this project, we really can't, I don't think, kick it down the road too much, just because the biggest thing, another part of the discussion was that the longer we wait on this, the more costs are going to increase for it. So like this part here. Yeah, so I mean this part, or this cost right now, if we just try and kick this can down the road, is only going to increase.
This $18 million price tag, does that account for the current increase in building materials?
This is up to date now. That they just did this whole complete renewal of everything as of now. They have projects that they compared to in the last 3 to 4 months that were taking place. Those price costs would be the last 3 to 4 months that took place.
And there's 500,000, I believe, allotted for any changes or things that would pop up.
I mean, there's very clearly, in some cases, 20 or 30% increase in
Yes,
costs.
yes, and I think that was discussed as well.
He discussed it as, like he said, using the estimates that they came up with were projects that were done in the last 6 months, which would account for most of the increases.
So with that, to your point of costs will continue to rise, right? There's a chance that if you time it right, you catch the sweet spot of the pullback from this artificial increase in price, COVID supply chain disruptions. If they're actually purchasing materials there before you, there's a long-term rise in construction costs that you always see related to inflation, related to all those things. But there's also this artificial bump. Where if we were doing it right now versus a year and a half from now, the actual cost may be lower if that disruption in material costs come down. So we're not going to be building tomorrow regardless.
Yeah, that's part of the discussion
may
too.
work really, really well if we're moving forward.
Yeah, and I know it's going to be within. I mean, it definitely isn't going to be like this summer that it can be done, but like that, I think that was discussed as well in terms of like next summer, that following one or the following one after that to start.
If we're getting this money, this COVID money, what are they doing with their?
They're not. It's regular schools are getting it. Low-tech schools are getting very little.
Not eligible for it.
So they applied. They did apply for a grant.
They have
applying
applied
for
for
some grants.
they're not getting the federal funds we are.
So they,
The federal funds we're hoping to get.
Yeah.
so they, like I said, they
Well,
haven't.
they haven't got what we've already gotten, so, yeah, they're not on any lists that, projection lists.
Well, they have like, they did apply for like this $1 million grant, which seems pretty, I guess from what they said, it seems pretty secure in terms of it's a matching grant. So whatever they put into it, it'll match up to $1 million. And it's on specific things, but they're trying to work it out, kind of plan it ahead of time. Things that they can refurbish or fix, if it has to be fixed in the school now, that they can just take out and put it back in the newly renovated school. So that's kind of how they're trying to tweak it a little bit to fit in.
All right, the next one was the CSIU, and if you see the documents posted on the board docs.
Real quick, I just want to thank CSIU and I did this before, but I know Anthony was involved with our region getting vaccinated, the educators in our region getting vaccinated. They had a three-day weekend up there.
Let's see, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We just ended.
4-day week of vaccinations up there, and I know our school district right now we have, and it's an estimate. It's about 100. We have about 150 right now. Employees. Now that's employees and maybe some volunteer coaches, bus drivers. So it's our school community that have gotten vaccinated. It's huge. So, you know, this is a huge thing for us. We're encouraging kids to come back to school because our teachers are vaccinated, especially kids that are struggling. So people out there here, we want your kids to start coming back to school. We have all the protocols in place, and we love to see your faces, especially if your child's struggling a little bit with this online learning. Let's get them back on campus. So thank you I know I thanked John and Bernadette a bunch of times, and I thanked you, Tony, too. So thanks to the IU. We're all their help.
Eli, do you have anything else?
Nothing else beyond
on
what I said.
foundation stuff?
No, nothing else.
At this time, we'll do the agenda hearing period. The purpose of the agenda hearing period is to permit residents in the audience to make a statement to the board of directors on action items on the agenda. At this time, we will accept comments from district residents and/or district property owners on action items on the agenda via Microsoft Forms. If you are a district resident, property owner would like to make a comment on an action item, please access the public comment forum by clicking here in the board docs or on the district Facebook page. And this link was available from 6:30 tonight. Mr. Davis, do we have any comments?
Mr. Vogt, at this time I have 0 comments.
Okay. At this time, the chair is looking for a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Josh?
Second.
Second by Drew. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. All right, moving on to minutes and invoices. Is it okay to do these as a block?
Yes.
At this time, the chair is looking for a motion to approve action item A and B.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, moving on to items fiscal. There's A, B, C, D, and E. Break any of these out, or would you guys like to vote them as a block?
I'm fine.
Go ahead, Josh.
I'm fine voting them as a block. I just wanted to make a quick comment on C, if I may.
Wait, let's get a motion in a second, then we'll take comments.
What is for E? Which one are we accepting?
It would be the anthracite power, right, was the low bid?
Yes.
Which that's been they've been our low bid for the past 3 cycles, I want to say.
Yeah.
Okay, it does say, the motion is written in here for them. Yeah, who gets the $300 gift card? Yeah, that's how that around. Motion
So at this time, the chair is looking for a motion for items fiscal, action item A, B, C, D, and E.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Oh, second by Bree. Any discussion? Josh?
Yeah, I just want to point out on item C, so everybody understands, we talked about this at our committee meeting last week. This is the property that Denise was talking about earlier, and it does not look to be a valuable property. It's a very narrow strip between two public right-of-ways. And that's why we were all generally okay last week putting this on to approve this. I just didn't want people thinking that we're waiving off tax money on a otherwise viable piece of property.
Plus, it's in the floodplain too.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to items personnel. Give you guys a minute to look. Is there anything that needs to be pulled out, or are we voting those as a block? If you can see on there, Scott's new maintenance specialist is on there. John Roberts is on there for our seasonal worker, and thanks for our coaches that are. So in block, everybody?
Yeah.
At this time, the chair is looking for a motion to approve action item A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and L.
So moved.
Josh?
Second.
Eli, second. Any discussion?
For H, did we need to make a motion to, wasn't there something to retract his resignation?
Decided in the end to just stay with the retirement and then take on the seasonal maintenance.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? 9-0. Number 9, items policy and programs. To approve action item A.
These are updated. We approved this back in February. We did have some other revisions, plus some of the changes we're trying to make at the high school. So we lumped them all in, cleaned it up, and so we just need to approve the revisions. And they're all in red highlighted.
At this time, the chair is looking for a motion to approve action item A.
So moved.
Drew, Bree. Any discussion? Is this the last one, Jim, or
Yes.
like?
We're hoping, unless we have some other changes that, you know, I'm hoping yes. If not, we'll explain why, if anything does change.
Jim, I have a question on page 15 for English grade 11, Honors English 11, and English grade 12. I know there's a lot of specific literature mentioned there. Do you know who made those suggestions?
They were updated over the last couple of years. I think the English department gets together and decides what novels they're going to be reading, and it changes every so often.
Okay, so that was our teachers and the department chair got together and made those recommendations?
Yes, I would put most of the lion's share of the decision on the classroom teacher.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I'm chair looking for a motion. I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Time is ready for comments.
Thank you to the school nurses who have been working really hard. I had interaction with them
over at quarantine, and was really impressed with how they handled that with the kids and with the parents. It's not fun to tell parents that the kids have to stay home and they want to be in school. And I think they're doing a really good job managing that and their normal duties, taking care of the kids. And then I always try to find a good thing. I came in from work today and I saw a library book laying on my coffee table for the first time in forever. And I thought maybe it was unearthed from last year, but it turns out it was freshly checked out today. So I didn't want to make eye contact with it because it almost felt a little like progress towards normal, but I was really excited to see that moment.
Any other board comment? Mr. Davis, recognition of the public.
Mr. Vogt, I currently have 0 comments from the public.
Move to adjourn. I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.
Thank you, Carl.
Bree, I have info for you. If you need